That is because... Oh.
What?
I was going to talk about your poop thing.
Okay, talk.
You won't let me do it, but you want to do it.
What do you mean I won't let you do it?
That.
You can take video of me anytime you want.
I already have.
Okay. That's not creepy at all.
Yeah, you were asleep. So this is my favourite begonia. I could never grow them, and I came home in summer last year one day, and I had the flowers. I always get these flowers off this guy. Steve planted them, and they went sick. I've never been able to grow them. Like I have the flower, then I try to grow it, it dies. See, one of them's like dying down there. And then, yeah, he planted them, and then they flowered like crazy.
I was cycling across southern France, not lost in particular, but I guess I definitely didn't know where I was. I found myself entering some city gates. These gates, I'd seen a lot more than I had after my meager 30 years of seeing things. Arles, they said, written in rough stone. Not Arles like I thought, apparently, but Arles like the locals were real quick to tell me. It was cold and it was about to get dark. The previous 2 nights I'd been woken up from a super deep rest. The kind of rest that only comes from a full day of like really living, exploring. The kind of rest that really doesn't like being woken up by midnight showers 2 nights in a row. I really hoped this mystery town might have some budget beds suited for a traveler such as myself. I was even willing to overlook the whole budget edict for a night that was shaping up to be quite cold. I still hadn't learned how to stave off the infamous cold butt syndrome. It's pretty well known to hammockers. You see, even a good sleeping bag, when crushed under your weight, does very little to prevent a fresh breeze from getting real fresh. After being turned away from a couple different hotels and feeling a little like Joseph of Arimathea, only super grateful to have a pack instead of a pregnant wife, I sat down to warm myself up with some tea. Arles is a pretty well-known town, it turns out. Mostly thanks to a great Roman amphitheater. The bulletin board at the shop boasted a bullfight soon to happen, as well as bands and markets, all happening as it would turn out yesterday. All except one bulletin that would have excited me in almost any town. Tango, tonight only, lessons and milonga, live music. Well, now I'm faced with a choice. And as is par for the course, I choose the least responsible option. Instead of leaving the fine town of Arles in search of a quiet, wooded, not-so-breezy resting spot, I could dance until as late as possible, and attempt to avoid my deep traveler's sleep altogether. I wandered about through the tiny cobblestone alleyways, along a wide canal, the water bright mandarin in the setting sun, walking completely content with my decision. Content to be wandering Roman walkways instead of spending my evening in a basement back in New York City. Content to have quit my job, trading in my dance pants for linens, my dance shoes for a bicycle, feeling an ancient sunset and the cold it leaves behind it. I found my cozy tango nook above an empty bar. I found dance. I found passion. I found authenticity. Every note that screamed from the accordion that night was a scream of release, a scream of action, a scream of empowerment. The master accordionist / tango instructor had returned like a prodigal son from Buenos Aires to Arles, lover in tow. They were his screams. They were mine. And it was amongst those screams that I met Mook. Remembering how a conversation with Mook began is as easy as knowing where that conversation will go. We found ourselves at a tiny table sandwiched between a window above the street and another bar. "Look at the way he moves," Mook remarked, eyes glued to the bartender. "Like a sexy dancer with that hair. Oh, he knows what he's doing. He knows very well." He didn't smoke like the smokers I'd known. They smoked like it was a chore. They were the drummers keeping time, working through the entire cigarette. Mook, on the other hand, smoked like he was playing lead guitar in a 1960s rhythm and blues band. Each note given its time to ring, and then lose itself before the next. No hurry, taunting the meter of the song. His hand-rolled cigarette dangled in his fingers, forgotten, as he found his way through his story, needing to be relit every few minutes. He asked if I minded him smoking each time he rolled a new one, and thoughtfully turned to blow the smoke through the window into the stars. We spoke as the crowd swirled, mixing in new conversation and table guests, but we both remained constant. He spoke of Paris. He spoke of Southeast Asia. He spoke fast and smoked slowly, pulling at his cigarette, grounding himself in the moment. "Oh, you should see this B&B I'm staying in. It's absolutely mental." "What? Oh, I'm sure you could stay there. Let me introduce you to my host. You're gonna love your room. Oh, here he is." And then just like that, I'm whisked away, finding myself falling asleep at the end of one of those stories that will one day feel like another life, like they happened to another person. I could have never known then that I'd one day be here, living in Mook's home in Melbourne, 2 years later, 2 nights having turned into 3 months. I could have never known, and yet, when we exchanged our worldwide details through social media, there was an inkling. A lot like that feeling that said, "Screw sleep, go dancing." A feeling that we'd meet again, someday, and once again, like in Arl, it would be mental.
Strike that one off the to-do list.